Hi everyone, today we have new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from Miniart, and we have something interesting here. And before you say that we already reviewed this kit, I would like to point your attention to the scale of this kit. So this is a D8506 German tractor, but this time we get it in a car model scale, which is quite interesting because before it was available in 135 scale. Now we get it in a typical vehicle scale, vehicle sizing, let's say, and it might be handy for some diorama ideas with the cars. I'm not sure who actually produces the cars from this time, let's say, span, but still it's a quite interesting development that we get it in a different scale. I know some modders were actually expecting it to see in 148 scale, but for now we get it in 124, and we have here a commercial sample, so it means you will get exactly the same stuff as what you'll see in this video review. Box size, I would say it's typical to what we had before, so here is comparison with my hand. We have slightly different styling, as you can see, but still box art looks quite great. It's from booth 20 as usual. Here on the side we have also some safety notes, some information about the manufacturer, and on the opposite side you can see the small note that the decals are coming from Cartograph, and also here we have some of the marking options, but obviously you're not limited by them. You can copy something different if you have such reference material which you can use as a background for your ideas. So this is a top opening box, and here is what we have inside. Straight away you can notice that, well, first of all parts are packed into the same plastic bag, and the second is that we still get the plastic wheels, but here they are bigger because it's obviously a 124 scale kit. And now I'm going to cut it open in order to see what is actually different here. And I mean, again, I will repeat it that obviously the size will be different because it's a different scale, which is bigger. But I wonder also if Miniart will be producing the figurines in this scale, because it will be quite a handy material for some diorama ideas. Maybe they will also scale up their Type 170V car, civilian car, which is available in several versions from Miniart in 135 scale. So in this case it might be quite an interesting development that Miniart will actually go into this area, if we can say so. So first of all, I would like to show you the tires for this kit. I'm just looking at what is written on the tire walls. As you can see, they're supplied on two identical plastic sprues, so I will show you only one because they are basically the same parts. And let's open the lenses a bit. So here you can see the tires, and they look quite nice. So we get a typical wheels. These are actually rear wheels, so each wheel should be glued out of 3 parts. So do not be confused that you are seeing here only 2, because the middle section is molded as this part, which will be inserted in between these 2, and that's actually this edgy sides. They play as a guiding elements, so they will be positioning these parts properly. Quite a smart design, and I think it's a definitely better alternative to the typical vinyl things which we are used to see in the car models, in the vehicle models, doesn't matter which scale, and that's why it will be a better looking result as well. You can see here we have also some features on the tire walls. If I flip it over, inside we have these pins. I think they will not have any influence because they are basically not limiting the overall fitment. And by the way, here you can see what I was talking about. So we have these edges which will guide all of the side panels, let's say, or side parts together with the middle section. Okay, so that's all for wheels, and next we can continue with a slightly bigger plastic sprue. This is a Sprue E, and for this one I will have to zoom out a bit so that you can see what I'm talking about here. So here we have the floor panel. Quite nice texture pre-molded. Also we have some guiding elements for the elements which will be placed. This is the rear plug, as far as you can see. Some suspension parts and wheel axles here. Also the brakes here. And this is the bonnet cover, as you can see, so it is molded separately, and maybe all of these small clamps or covers for the openings, they will be also molded separately, which is quite good. In 124 scale it will be noticeable, and if I flip it over, here you can see what we have on the opposite side. So obviously the let's say floor panel, it has some features which will be necessary for the overall alignment of the parts. While the bonnet panel, well, it's not as detailed because it does not need anything from beneath. It will be barely visible, but you can see the push marks here. So definitely try out in order to define whether these push marks will be noticeable on your vehicle. Next, we continue with the Sprues CE. So this one is slightly wider, and maybe here I would like to zoom in a bit so that you can see these rear fenders. They are molded together with the subframes, which will be holding them in the right alignment. And this is really great because you get them in the right position out of the box. You don't have to play with the separate tabs. We also get the guiding elements here and there, so that's also a useful feature. And the next thing here, we have also some subframes parts. I guess this one is the part of the bonnet panel, but we will check it in the assembly manual once we will be looking at all the parts. And by the way, if you have noticed, here in the top section we also have some rivets which can be separated off the sprue and glued into the necessary spots. This is something what was also employed in their Austin armored car from Miniart. So this is not something new in terms of design, but still you will have to be careful while working with this stuff. Next, we have wheel parts again. So these are actually front wheel parts. As you can see, they are coming on two identical plastic sprues. So I will show you again only one sprue because there is no need to show the same stuff. And here we have basically the same design, except that we have each wheel combined out of 5 sections. Again, we have the plastic one-piece side parts or side walls if you prefer, but note that they're molded together with a wheel rim, so you have to do some masking, maybe cut it with a circular template in order to carefully paint all these parts. But also quite an interesting design. It also gives you the right tire pattern, and here if I flip it over, you can see we have the guiding pins which will help you with the proper alignment of these parts. Obviously you have to cut off all of these molding pins because otherwise you won't be able to fit in these discs, let's say, and that's something to consider. But again, we have here the pre-molded features on the tire walls. This is really cool because we get them out of the box and you don't have to resort to resin parts, in my opinion, because this is more than enough for the out of the box build. Next, here we have 2 small sprues. I'm not sure where those parts will go, I guess for the rear wheel axle. But as you can see, molding quality looks fine even on the tiniest parts. Next, we have Sprue DB. So here we have the driver's seat. We also have some parts for the gearbox and also for the exhaust tube, as far as you can see. Note that the backrest for the driver's seat, it is molded separately, and this backrest is molded as a single piece part with the support, which is quite interesting design in my opinion. We also have here the throughout holes, so you don't have to drill anything, and if I flip it over here, you can check these parts from the opposite side. So molding quality again really good. There is nothing to complain about. And also I just realized that this is the front sub-assembly for the headlamps or headlights. And as you can see, you have to be careful with this thin bar connecting both headlamps. So really tricky stuff, but also shows what you can achieve with the modern molding technologies. Next, we continue with the Sprue A. So here maybe we can zoom in because it's large anyway, so it's better to check it first closer, because here we have the parts for the, let's say, main chassis. As you can see, these 2 parts, these 2 large pieces will have to be combined together. We also have again various rivets pre-molded on the sprue, so be careful, pay attention to this. Next, we continue with the rear wheel drivetrain, as far as you can see. I'm just looking how the features are copied here. and maybe there will be some guiding elements inside once we flip over the sprue. Maybe we'll flip it over a bit later, because maybe first I would like to show you these bonnet panels and the meshes details here. They look quite convincing, and it's not surprising that actually we do not get any P parts here, because I mean those parts look great without any P. By the way, note here also the drivetrain with this belt, really interesting pre-molding quality. And also here we have more of the drivetrain parts, which look quite impressive. For 1/24 scale, it's really great stuff. And again, as I said before, if we flip over this, let's say, twin parts, we have guiding elements inside, which will help you to align them together. And here as well, so quite a smart design, and I think it won't be problematic to get everything together and also get ready for painting process. But that's not all, because we also get this small plastic bag with the decals and clear parts. So just give me a second, I will cut through it because it's a sealed plastic bag. And as a small reminder, we have clear parts here. So Miniart does not supply any masks or masking templates in their kits. So if you would like to get a nice paint finish, and as you remember, you have to do it anyway for the wheels, you have to get some masks or masking templates in order to get a proper paint finish. So here you can see the clear parts, they look really great. Molding quality of the clear parts from Miniart is never a problem, so here I have nothing to say. And as you remember, we have decals from Cartograph, so that's why this decal sheet should be also easy to work with. It's just a matter of applying it on your tractor. Okay, next we continue with assembly manual, and here we have something interesting. That's why I paused a bit, because as you can see, this is a really small brochure, quite tiny, unusual for Miniart. We have, well, at least me, I have never seen such format from Miniart before. Here you can see comparison with my hand, so it's smaller than the typical A4 format Miniart assembly manual, even though we have enough space in the box. So it's a color printed brochure. Here we have parts map. As usual, Miniart does not show that which parts are not used in the assembly, so pay attention to the assembly steps. Here we start the whole process with the assembly of this drivetrain, if we can say so. So we will be combining all of these pair parts together and then joining them in between. Next we continue with the various minor elements being added here and there. It's quite interesting that, for example, well, I do not see the separate rivets being added, but as you can see, the various panels are copied as a separate parts, which is quite a smart design because you will get more features this way. Also, I'm not sure what we are doing here, because I guess, yeah, so here we actually add in this small rivets, and note that the name of the nameplate, let's say, of the tractor, it's actually pre-molded on the faceplate as we saw before. Then we assemble the bonnet, so there is no engine inside, unfortunately, and you won't be able to open it. There is no such option included into the kit. Nevertheless, we have really detailed driver's compartment, let's say. So as you can see here, we start with the floor panel, then we continue with the whole assembly of the gear. And here we assemble the driver's seat, which is quite interesting because first you get the support, then you get the main plate, and then you have the back rest. Quite a sophisticated design just for a simple seat. Next we continue with the wheel fenders, and then we start to assemble actually the wheels themselves. Note that the brakes will be quite detailed as well. These drum brakes will be visible even with the wheels inside. And next we continue with the front wheel axle. As far as you can see, we also install the exhaust tube, which is also a matter of assembly of several parts. Here we work on the headlamps, also the license plate, and here the steering wheel. As you can see, steering wheel will have the separate horn button, and then it gets installed into the place. Here, by the way, we have also, no, it's not the steering wheel actually, it's the side wheel for the drivetrain as far as you can see. Next we continue with the first marking option. So this one comes in a green color with this one's written on the side. And here we have another one without this writing, but we get the here some sign on the side. So it's up to you which one you choose. As you can see, this one comes from East Prussia. And overall, this kit looks like an interesting alternative to 124 supercars in my opinion. So if you would like to surprise yourself first and also somebody on the exhibition, this might be a great choice. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion about this release. Do not forget that you can get it in Mod.1937 webshop, and write your opinion here in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.